Hey, I just wanted to take a minute and talk a little bit about some toys and some supplements and things for dogs. A lot of the different trainings and behaviors that we're going to do with dogs, we are going to try to make them play-based with a toy reward or treat-based with some sort of treat. It is important to really watch your dog's health and their nutrition. One thing that I like to use is I just use regular kibble. And right here is a bag of kibble. Now when I get some dog food, I just use it for treat training because my dogs eat raw. Here is a bag of dog food that isn't too bad with the ingredients. Got it right off Amazon. When you look at it compared to a lot of the expensive dog foods like Victor and other things, it is reasonably comparable, even though I usually like to use open acres. And again, that's just for treat training. But when you get a bag of dog food, it's really important that you don't just open the dog food and let it sit there in the bag, or that you don't take the dog food and dump it into a plastic container. Because what happens in those situations is when you just open the bag of dog food, it starts to oxidize and it reacts with the air and it loses its nutritional properties, it loses its flavor, and it loses its shelf life. It only lasts for about 2 weeks once you open the bag, and you'll notice near the end of that, the dog's not going to be too happy eating it. And then if you put it into a plastic container, what happens is the chemicals in the plastic container leach into the dog food, and the dog gets chemicals in their food. So to help to combat that, what I do is when I open a bag, I just portion it out. There's a couple cups in each bag. I squeeze the air out of it. These are food grade Ziploc bags. So now my food is portioned for treat training or for meals, and then I store it back in the bag. And it keeps it nice and together, and it keeps it fresh, and it keeps it from getting unnecessary chemicals on the food. So I use dog food most of the time for treat training, and it works really well even though my dogs eat raw. So you really want to kind of be careful of if you get normal treats, they can have a lot of sodiums, a lot of sugars, a lot of preservatives, a lot of artificial colors and everything like that. And that's not necessarily the way to go. Another way to go with treat training is if you have any sort of supplements that you want to give your dog, you can use those for treat training. I usually use a daily multivitamin, and I use some dried brewer's yeast, which is part of my flea fighting regimen. Another great product is if you look at these Steward treats, they are one ingredient freeze-dried treats with no preservatives, nothing artificial as far as colors and flavors and other nonsense go. That's a really healthy alternative for your dog, and it's not packed with just carbs and sugar and salts and other things like that. Now, with Tank, who's my pug, it's really hard to find some toys for him because most of the toys are geared towards bigger dogs. I do have a little tug here. We're going to see how he likes that today. We got some small tennis balls. I don't usually use tennis balls on a regular basis, but he does not play with them that much. One thing with tennis balls is dirt can get into the fiber. And the fiber in the dirt can help wear the dog's teeth down if the dog's really likes to chew the ball and compress the ball. There's also been some talk. I mean, some of them have squeakers in them. The dog could swallow the squeaker. There's also, been some talk in the past about normal tennis balls having chemicals on them or powders and chemicals in them, which can cause sores and irritation to the dog's mouth. I also have some little tiny tug ropes. This is what Tank usually likes the most, but we're going to use those in our video for today. But that's just a little breakdown on some things that I do or use or things you might want to keep, in mind. The supplements work really good for treat training. My dogs are very food driven and treat motivated. Even though they don't get treats per se, they get supplements usually, or they just get kibble. So keep that in mind when you're working with your dog, and we'll jump right into the episode.